Amitabha Buddha salutes the people. People woke up this morning. The first idea is, do people remember the Buddha? People remember the Buddha, but do people have the heart to pray for the dead? Sir, there was a Buddhist girl yesterday. Or is it a Buddhist? Comments on YouTube are great. Modern, please accept this idea. Buddhist text message is saying, every time I hear a teacher share, I'm asking if you remember the Buddha. Do you pray for the dead in the morning? Instead of asking the question, recite with us a few Buddha signs and vow to be born with us. Let us accompany you always, according to the German ring master. Every time he received the Buddha, he reminded the Buddhist a few sentences. Very much for the message. A comment on YouTube, and the universities have one more lesson, and people find that very interesting. It should be from here on out. Whenever you forget to mention the ring, every time the ring would ask this question, the ring will recite the 3 Buddha signs, the great ring of prayer. It's that we're together. Before learning is reciting the Buddha, remind each other to recite the Buddha. Practice the recitation of the Buddha and pray for. Then say what you want to share later. Share, because what it's all about is sharing what it's all about. The purpose is help people remember the Buddha to pray for ecstasy. So, now stop listening as if practicing. Amitabha Buddha salutes all the people. Ladies and gentlemen, the people woke up this morning. The first idea, do people remember the Buddha? People remember the Buddha, but do people have the heart to pray for the dead? Invite the people to recite the Buddha with the great and pray for a new birth. Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha. I ask Amitabha Buddha to send me to the West. Amitabha Buddha, that's all right. Every time I get it, I will do that. Recite the Buddha 3 times and pray for the birth. It's short. I ask Amitabha Buddha to send me to the West. That's the Buddha. You should share it like that. So, that today the great eraser will continue to quote. A phase in the 3-period legal system of Master Trung Fung. 3 times of memory, the law of the Grand Master. Speaking of the Grand Master, you all know about him. The 3-day celebration. Other clear tone. Then, I went to Vietnam to do it. Festivals with big festivals. It's based on a foundation. Of the Master of the Founding Fathers. Modern people will read a passage and get pronouns. Let's share our learning with you. Pure Dharma. It was founded by 48 deep-rooted volunteers. The great compassion of Amitabha Buddha. To receive all beings in the 10 directions. To receive all beings in the 10 directions. Anyone who has full faith is born. Believe that there is a pure West. Believe that Amitabha Buddha accepts sentient beings to believe. Believe is believe. Beings like us have a part to play. It is said that the Buddha leads the living, but need to believe. It just depends. Self-actuating induction reciprocating. Not from the outside after all. People who believe that are true beliefs. It's a phase. Shortened 3 times legal system. Of Master Trung Fung. We've heard through this process to modernize. Waiting for a little modern work. It's so cool to mark this modern stage. Then, modern people are afraid to sometimes share, or sometimes doing too many modern things. You know, I want to share this book with you after reading it. There is no research. Is it? What to draft? Here we see. We know that our pure Dharma, who recited the Buddha's wish to be born in the West on the foundation achieved the vow of God. These are the 48 vows of Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha's deep compassion. Here he says a very interesting sentence, or you'll notice. Remember the 48 prayers of Amitabha Buddha. You can't accept them all. Accept all sentient beings in 10 directions. Anyone whose full faith is born. All are born. Many people wonder, many people ask. Here's a quote, an affirmation called sure as nails. You are a practitioner who was practiced, attested as a grade, the master of pure mind, the wizard of the Middle Ages. Master Feng, no one knows your virtues that affect the Pure Land. It's not small, sir. As we go through this process, we have to remember there are many people who say that they don't. Whether you are born or not, I do not know the Buddha. I wonder if you have too many children or not. I don't know the Buddha. Your karma is too deep. Whether you are born or not. What are you reciting? Is reciting the delusion, is reciting the karma. But keep repeating it. This place is extremely important. We are pure practitioners who always think of positive navigation, don't think about the negative. AI karma with AI hip also has no AI without. Delusional affliction, no one without it. Knowing that is a matter of course. The simplicity of a mortal. The sins are as deep as we are. Born in my land, this woman is 5 evil slips like this is ordinary. What can we do to avoid disturbing thoughts? Avoid the difficult challenges. Avoid the karma for us? But here you say, collect all sentient beings in 10 directions. You are living beings in those 10 directions. Heavy karma, you are still a being in those 10 directions. Light friend, you are still a being in those 10 directions. 10 ways sentient beings are willing to believe is that there's a very optimistic Western world. Amitabha Buddha completely believes in this place. Is to believe the Buddha's word. Teaching is never wrong. Western sutras are extremely optimistic. This belief is pure faith. The West is honest. Amitabha Buddha accepts sentient beings and sentient beings. So, beings in the 10 directions, 10 places, beings hell, ego, they're animals and so on. Ask for sentient beings. Have full faith, remember, is born. Listen to this sentence carefully. Listen to this sentence carefully. You see, you can't study with the greats to build a daily commitment. The more you talk, the hotter you get. The more fun you talk, the more excited you are. Why is it that Buddha blessed? In this world, there is someone who advises the recitation of the Buddha. The Buddha is blessed. Modern good master. He is the second ancestor of the Pure Land. He is the reincarnation of Amitabha Buddha, Master and Kwong. He is the 13th ancestor of the Pure Land. It is the great Bodhisattva incarnate for 2 days. In a thought that says, I advise you to remind people, encouraging people to recite the May ecstasy be perfect for the dead. Born the West ecstasy. It is perfect for a living being. Buddha in the future. This thing, the merit of the newspaper cannot be thought of, cannot be discussed. But here's the thing. Now, what I do is too meaningful. To advise a dead man, advise a person to recite the Buddha even if they have not cultivated the good fortune of the Buddha's followers for them. Then, this is the happiness of the student, the happiness of our Buddhist students, in this age of France, to cherish, to remind. Ask them to be virtuous. It's too broad to say. But if we advise them to recite the Buddha, we can do it. Whether they remember or not, whether they can do it or not, depends on their blessings. Depending on their blessings. So, in modern South say, today is at this point the 6th, 7th, what 7th episode? You see hips, read the words. The teachings of the masters. There is no one who does not pray first. When the prayer is completed, it is called the practice of recitation. That's why the speakers, you have to take this route first. Why do so many people give up? It's a new entry. is to recite the Buddha yin 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 day and night and night and night. Memories are many. Force yourself to let go of all thoughts. But that, doing things we sometimes can't afford, not enough power to do it, then there's no faith. Here you say that anyone who has full faith, true recitation of the Buddha, if you pray for God, you will surely be saved. The work of some people is new. They practice in a self-help way. They repress them, they impose them. I pray for the best. Let's make a block into a slab. But first, they don't build trust first. Because the root of pure cultivation is to go from the belief. Believe the Buddha's words. I believe in the testimony of the Lord on the miracles of life. How many books have been written? How many people have shown themselves? Then the belief is there, then the recitation of the Buddha is never discouraged. Once you believe the word of the Buddha, what does the Buddha do? The words of the masters are those who have practiced. Make sound not authentic. Number. I don't know if I can lie to you. If you want to capture this belief, how much adversity? How many people have no accomplishment? But I believe in the Buddha. I believe the Buddha will not abandon me. Even though the thought of the Buddha continues, Buddha's thought of peace also follows that because it depends on of each living being. It depends on the nature of beings, built up over many lives. There is an upper middle ground here. Here in the vow, I am not talking about people. Recollection of the Buddha must be intelligent. Then I received it. Not to mention that the Buddha must be handsome. I have to be pretty to lead. Not to mention that the Buddha must be rich. I have to take the lead if I like. As a coward, I do not follow. No, Buddha never said that. We hear about this. The karma is heavy. Bad people, the poor, the disabled. The karma is deep. You cut out those ideas because we are living in the 10 directions. Is to capture in the Maitreya vow. Just really recite the Buddha. Truly build trust with one heart. I believe in the Buddha. This is full of goodness and grace. Full of goodness and grace to correspond to the deed of vow. Listen carefully to this, gentlemen. Many people ask, to do so to build the goodness of grace and grace. Who can recite the Buddha's grace? Master Tin does not teach. Who can recite and recite from this Buddha sign? He is full of goodness and grace. In the Amitabha Sutra called this good man, good woman. You know who is a good man, a good woman? What do you say in the 5 great masters? Who can recite the Buddha's prayer for the afterlife? We are good men. We are good women. So the person who recites the Buddha's prayer, let us be proud that the future is a happy people. The future is the ecstatic Western world. It's 100% sure. What's important is that this belief lasts a lifetime. It's not 25, 35, 45. Take a lifetime is the ultimate goal of taking this lifetime. For the recitation of Buddha, it's for the dying. This belief is so strong. A whole life, not 1 meal a day. A year, a month, February 35, that the whole life listening to you. My whole life. So, listen to this part, the 48 compassionate wills of Maitreya Buddha. Remember to receive. All beings in 10 directions. Full faith is born. When we hear this, do we have a chance? I have a chance. I have a chance. Listen to this piece. Actually, folks, whatever we do, we go to college. Let's go to a school. We identify with that environment and we aim. We are capable. We are capable. If we meet the requirements, we dare to enter. And you recite the Buddha your whole life and you keep. I don't know if there is a birth or not. I don't know if there is a birth or not. I don't know if it's ecstasy or not. I don't know if there is a similar. I don't know if there is a willing future. Think like that all day long. remembering in doubt, thought in the calculation comparison. Then why is the heart true, gentlemen? I lost my true heart. If you lose your true heart, do it. What is reciprocity? Absolute trust. Absolute trust. It's not just random talk here. Master, what is the Mass? 3 times of the legal system of the Central Master. This is his teaching, the officials. Those are the words, folks. Here continue to say the news deed op your land and sorry. Believe there is a pure West. Believe that Buddha deed or accepts sentient beings. We believe that our sentient beings have a part to play. Remember to listen to sentient beings. We are, you know what we mean. That means you said you're like us. We are just like you. We believe that all of us have a stake. They are all born. Where is it that is born? Faith is the mother of all virtues. If faith is gone, doubt, doubt. Doubt or not, the merit of the reward. Where is the future? You can hear this part clearly. So through this process, we hear the fire, to happy, because we recite the Buddha. We all have our share. What's important is trust. Don't doubt a little. Hey, little girl, through this stage you see? Private calendar, great master. No one without mentioning the mind. The first wish is over. There are many preachers. There are many people who say that touches the Buddha's recitation these as landmarks. That's why we say the greatest experts in mind training and decide who recites the Buddha from here to build. The Buddha recitation technique of each person, you know, once the faith is willing, it's there. They never recite less Buddha. They were determined to get into that one school, and they passed the exam. Why are they late? You have to study. I had to study that night for the exam. It's not college. It's not 10, 11, 12. It's their whole learning process that they spend. They encapsulate what they learn, what they find. They try to stay awake day and night for the exam. Part that college. That too. We know that we're floating in samsara. It's so painful. This birth and death exam, we're through. How many years can't pass? There is a college now. Into that school. How many conditions will be met? Needs that we've always wanted to have. We want to. What's the environment? Ecstatic Western University environment. Topic exam. Lots of questions, but only one answer. That's Amitabha Buddha's answer to the West. Learn this answer carefully. Question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4 is to ask this woman how she met her. In this world, difficult challenges hinder adversity. How many of these things are our exams? What are the answers? Amitabha Buddha, I am determined to go to the West. I decided to go to the West. Amitabha Buddha, the Buddha, all the answers to all the exams. And got into the ecstatic Western University. And what's that university principle? Ecstatic Western Cardinal. Is Germany from our Maitreya. By that. Those said that. Say it again. I believe that we all have our share. When we hear this, we know that you are a good translator. You like the word is. We are sentient beings, we mean you. It's not that you said the mysterious high priest. What you said is, you are sentient beings just like us. You say that you are living beings like us. You're humbling yourself, really. The calendar is all about. Did the ancient Bodhisattva Buddha show up? You say that we are living beings. He said you are one of those ordinary people like us, but he was sure he recited the Buddha. You will be born, because prayer is like that. Sentient beings 10 directions. The heart loves us as sentient beings. Listen through this process. Absolute trust, gentlemen. Try to work with you. Don't blame the earth. Don't take anything negative. Heavy karma, the deep sin sao is born. It's all good, but it's important. But it's important that people remember. We recite the Buddha. I believe in God. We recite the Buddha as the refuge of the Maitreya vow, and we learn the virtue of the Maitreya vow. The West's ecstasy in the world. For what is the purpose? Quickly become a religion to make sentient beings suffer. Not up there to enjoy. Up there again immersed in 5 sects to fall. It's about enjoying what's up there, enjoying what's legal. The more you enjoy it, growth center, growth, Bodhi quickly becomes Buddha level to all sentient beings. The enjoyment of the ecstasy of the Western world. It's different from enjoying heaven. The more you enjoy heaven, the more you enjoy the more blessed and the more down. And the ecstasy of the Western world, not to enjoy, it's what feels like. The highest enjoyment is the enjoyment of the legal person. The more you enjoy it, the more you enjoy it, the more Bodhi grows because of Sao. Bird speaking French tree swayed. But the jewels that collide also speak French. Touch each other, a small jingle is also the sound. The water also speaks French. The wind also speaks French. Falling leaves also speak French. Where all the magic is sound. Why in this world? When the Buddha liked C.A. Mani to become a Buddhist. What are you doing? The Buddha liked C.A. Mani to become Sao. 49 years in 6 years. There is no time for worship. There is no time without speaking French. Because they want sentient beings, free from suffering, free from confusion. There is only education. Only teaching can make a good person. So is the Western world too. Through this stage I want to know that. Convinced that? You just have to have true faith in it. Then our future will surely become Buddha, to make all sentient beings suffer. How all sentient beings suffer? And there's AI right there. So there we are. So you've got to try. Keep talking here. It is said that the Buddha accepts sentient beings, but need to believe. It just depends on nature. The censor here simply looks like it's going to say, "What do you mean?" The Buddha knows that the Buddha has compassion for sentient beings, that we want to touch the Buddhas. Then the inspiration wants to reciprocate. It's not outside after all. You know, it's not outside after all. That's what true faith is all about. It's not a compliment. It's not a reproach of a person. It's not a criticism of people. It makes me lose my life, or the way of life. Faith is built in yourself, and we are serious. There is real heart. Are you excited about the birth or not? Then the induction will have reciprocity. Where did it come from? Not from the side, outside, but from where we ourselves are. Let's recite the Buddha. We remember the Buddha. We worship the Buddha. We can't use a mind of superficial indifference to practice with a deceitful mind. But as the wise man's words remind us, believe must believe truthfully. There is indeed a Western ecstasy. It has to be for real. I really don't have one. Have a full sense of mind. Spiritual practice, the new induction can be back and forth. What is it that can communicate? Our mind's congruence wants true ecstasy. If the Buddha wants to come back, he will be able to touch the prayer. It's like two magnets, one cathode, one ocean meeting. They just sniffed together to a man of prayer and a man of relying on the true prayer. It is my earnest wish to return. These two are intertwined and compatible. And if you have a mouth and a mind, you die in this place. Like the stage. They repeat what the process is like. Where are you? Ha ha ha. Completely inappropriate language and actions. Faith is weak without the Buddha mind. They are often interrupted based on this lazy hope of the end of the road is born. The hope of death is still alive. It is in the words of the Lord, of Master Vin Min. It is said that the period before Japan is shared. Listen to the exercise. Bobby a number for what modern hips remember. I forgot to go to Japan. Because Sao does not exist, because Sao does not correspond. Language and actions are completely inappropriate. He is also telling us here, do you think that one thing is inspiration? If you want to get around, you want traffic. Intersect with each other. To touch each other is to be honest. On the side of the Buddha, don't say, Buddha was too honest with me. But if I have a bad heart with the Buddha, I will suffer for myself. So, here's the practice. Don't use false minds to listen to you. There's a human phase here. People share. Those who believe in God need to have faith. The master must be strong. What is the main character? The real reason to build. What is the meaning of this world? Recite the Buddha's thoughts to you. You take the concept of the Buddha as the root, as the first. Where does the blessing of grace come from? From where this Buddha title is the fruit of the Buddha, accumulated over many lifetimes, many lives. Keep talking, thinking of the miserable rebirth of birth and death. Desperate from the naked world, it hurts. To start a title right there, there is no other sight. Think about impermanence, think of death, think of death. It's not that old people die, young people die. You saw the hips just now. The 81-year-old woman died. Also on that day, a 23-year-old monk at his temple, waiting for the final announcement, having a stroke with cerebral fever. You have to get your brain steamed, and finally the hospital returned the handcuffs. The family has aspirations. How old are you thanks to the gods? 23 years old on one side, 81 years old on one side, 23 years old crazy. One day hide this man, and one day send the key to the crematorium. Do you see that? It's not that kids don't die. Early death is normal. So, let's not think that when thinking of rebirth and death. Scary. I'm so depressed about this heartbreak. Then this one Buddha title sentence. Life starts up right there. Don't waste time thinking about it. What is that thought? It is a mind that is dedicated to practice all its life. Don't interrupt. Gentlemen, don't interrupt. Today is Japanese morning. Share learning with you like this. Remember, faith is important. Belief is more important than belief requires practice. Believe and pray. Without practice, it's not strong enough to convince that we had faith. Faith and virtue. These three legs must be pierced for those missing a root. It's this tree. It's going to tumble, and listen to the masses trying to make an effort. Once you think of death, it comes to me suddenly. It doesn't wait. It didn't warn you. It didn't say anything. It's evil. It's unintentional. Be prepared in advance. Be ready to receive a death, to receive a sudden. At the same time, this Buddha sign, this one mind to arise, this body, no matter how bad it is. What does this body do? Ignore the spirit. I was safe. The usual players in the Western world are ecstatic, waiting for the Buddha. Teacher training. To quickly become a Buddha, to return to this suffering sentient being. I'm so happy to hear that. Recollection life is not selfish for itself, it's thinking about the future for sentient beings. Suffering is not enough. Insufficient capacity for sentient beings in this era, in this country. Let's go to the West ecstasy to be fully qualified. Opportunity to quickly become a Buddha to raise sentient beings. See if you can recite the Buddha. Listen through here. It's not negative, it's positive. Actively quickly become Buddha. In order for sentient beings to suffer, To
they
pray
must
for
actively
ecstasy
recite
because
the Buddha.
only ecstasy has a chance. Capable of doing that. It's hard for ordinary people like us. What's one more thing you're trying to do? Remember, 48 prayers. The level of sentient beings aimed at sentient beings in the 10 directions. 10 ways beings just need to have faith. To pray for life. Surely it is as they say. All of us living beings also have their share. If you really believe, I hope people will try to resolve this world to the ecstatic Western world. Non-tissue AD Buddha.